This is KGW News at noon.
Take a look at this body cam footage from Milwaukee police. It shows a close call with a suspected drunk driver crashing into an officer's patrol car.
Step back.
So this all happened early yesterday morning. Milwaukee police say it happened at around 2 a.m. while searching for a trespassing suspect along Southeast Linwood Avenue. While they were searching, this officer parked on the side of the road, threw his lights on. That's when they noticed a Camaro without its lights on driving towards them. It hits a patrol car. Luckily, nobody was injured. But 31-year-old Jeffrey Birch faces charges of DUI, reckless driving, and reckless endangering.
My demand on Boeing is what are they going to do to improve their quality programs in-house?
We're hearing from Alaska Airlines CEO about the production improvements that he wants to see Boeing implement. But today, the FAA is handing down new guidelines Boeing now has to take to allow their nearly 200 MAX 9 planes to fly again. The instructions outline a new inspection process Boeing implemented yesterday. It requires the jet maker to inspect specific bolts, guide tracks and fittings, and it also needs to give a detailed look at all mid-cabin door plugs and components. And mechanics will need to retorque fasteners and correct any damage or abnormal conditions. On Capitol Hill yesterday, Boeing CEO David Calhoun assuring lawmakers that his company's planes are safe.
Mr. Calhoun, what's your message to passengers concerned about flying on your planes?
We fly safe planes. We don't put airplanes in the air that we don't have 100% confidence in.
Today, Boeing plans to pause MAX 9 production at its Renton facility, the first of many so-called quality stand-down days. The FAA also announced on Wednesday that it will not grant any production expansion of the Boeing 737 MAX line. And though the FAA approved the ungrounding of the planes, officials say this won't be back to business as usual for Boeing. City leaders are asking Portlanders to renew a 10-cent per gallon gas tax when they vote this May. The money goes towards a program meant to fix streets, first passed in 2016 and renewed in 2020. And with last year's spike in the number of traffic deaths, leaders say now is not the time to stop funding the program. John Adams has a story.
City leaders made a plea to Portland residents today. Renew a 10-cent gas tax in May or see some PBOT programs cut.
If the 10 cents gas tax is not renewed, our challenges will be greater than ever, and Portlanders will see a significant decline in the services that PBOT is able to offer.
If passed, the tax is projected to generate $70 million over the next 4 years. PBOT says the tax will provide funding for road paving, street lighting, fixing potholes, and upgrading bike lanes. It will also provide significant funding to improve roads and intersections in high-crash corridors, including on 122nd Avenue, which saw 6 traffic fatalities in 2023.
These are preventable deaths, and they disproportionately affect people walking, people without housing, and people in East Portland. This is no time to be slashing PBOT budgets or critical staff who are working to address emergency conditions and a public health epidemic of traffic violence.
The tax saw widespread support on the ballot in 2020, with 77% of residents voting in favor. But since then, we've seen inflationary pressures from the COVID-19 pandemic. PBOT Director Millicent Williams acknowledged that despite an increase in costs, their study showed residents did not want to see the tax increased.
There was not the appetite for us to increase, even according to inflation. So we're looking at how we can make sure we stretch the dollar as far as we can by leveraging fixing our streets dollars against other investments.
John Adams, KGW News.
This morning, we're hearing from a man who hit a huge pothole on southbound I-205 in Westland on Monday. His truck was okay, but as many as 40 cars could have been damaged. So take a look at the video that he sent us. A huge line of cars with their tires blown out. We've seen a lot of potholes after last week's storms, and after running into the pothole himself, the man we spoke to turned around, got his own tools to help others who were scrambling to put on their spare tires.
It was this boom, and then the truck did this. Some of the cars that were heavily damaged to change their tires out, had my flashers on, and I had my highlights on, and I was just out there turning wrenches.
The pothole has since been repaired, but just so you know, if your car was damaged from a highway pothole, you might be able to file a claim. For details, head to the article on the story at kgw.com. All right, Rod, you said it was supposed to get real wet this weekend. Are we still seeing this happening?
Yeah, from this system right here, and that's where we start. So this rain, maybe not first thing in the morning, but during the morning hours, this will start to come in, and it will be with us. Raining more than not, heavy at times. Friday afternoon, Friday night, Saturday night, into early Sunday morning. We'll talk more about that coming up. Right now, we haven't seen that much rain up and down I-5 in the last few hours. We've mostly seen some rain showers over the Coast Range and then bumping up into the Cascades and some rain showers out in the gorge. It still looks like we will see the number of showers become fewer and fewer in the coming hours. Here's Cannon Beach. I mean, if you look carefully, you can see a little baby blue up top, but that's a pretty wet look. And at 51 is the temperature at Cannon Beach. Downtown Portland clouds, we're at 47, so we seem to be on track to get up to around 50, where we thought we would be. We'll go mostly dry at 4 p.m. That means there's a shower chance, but I think if you were to look at a radar, it's going to show not much on it. And then completely dry overnight tonight. We'll be 47 at 8 o'clock. Again, a lot of rain coming in. Concerns for rising rivers. We'll talk about all of that in my complete forecast coming up.
All right, Rod, thank you. Federal investigators are on the ground in Elako, Washington, trying to figure out what started the fire that destroyed a dock and thousands of dollars worth of equipment on Monday. It's also caused a major setback for fishermen just before the start of commercial crabbing season. Now, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, or ATF, is helping investigate what was initially called in as an electrical fire. While the commercial crabbing season lasts until mid-September, Fish and Wildlife officials say 80% of crabs are harvested in the early months. So communities up and down the coast are pitching in to help.
I think all of us right now are really feeling for these families, because we're all in the place where we feel like one big catastrophe would just sink us. We would lose our business.
The GoFundMe supporting people impacted by the Elako Fire keeps growing and has now raised over $81,000. Today, Clark County will conduct its annual point-in-time count. The countywide census provides a one-night snapshot of what homelessness looks like in the community. Throughout the day, staff and trained community volunteers with Council for the Homeless will go around asking and surveying questions to people living outside. The survey includes the voluntary questions like demographics and the circumstances that contributed to homelessness. Data from today's count will be released in May. Hillsborough police are asking for the public's help finding additional victims in a sex abuse case involving a babysitter. Police say they arrested 33-year-old Brian Henning in early December for sex crimes against multiple children. They say he committed the crimes while babysitting different children in his apartment complex in Hillsborough. Henning lives there for 11 years, and police believe that there may be more victims. If you have any information about this case, they ask that you call the number on your screen and ask to speak with Detective Schwartz. The Marion County Sheriff's Office is warning people about phone scammers impersonating law enforcement, saying they're collecting traffic fines. They say the scammers demand payment over the phone and threaten people with a warrant for not paying their debts. But the Sheriff's Office wants to remind people that real law enforcement will not contact you like this. Anyone who encounters these types of scams can report them to the FTC. We have an update from Portland Public Schools on a solution for students attending Robert Gray Middle School, which has been closed for repairs after the recent ice storm. Those students will continue their learning at Jackson Middle School until repairs at Gray are finished, which is expected to take a few weeks. The district intends to have Gray students start at Jackson next Tuesday, the 30th. This is to give the staff at each school time to prepare and coordinate. They said additional details will be given to parents by the school's principal. The Oregon Department of Education says 2023 saw the second highest graduation rate since the state started collecting data. This is according to an annual report released by the department that has detailed graduation rates for the past 17 years now. And according to that report, the statewide graduation rate for the class of 2023 was 81.3%. That number ties the 2022 graduation rate for second place. In a statement, Governor Tina Kotek says that she will never be satisfied when it comes to Oregon students' education. She underscored the importance of seeing positive growth in key areas. And KGW's Tim Gordon will have a breakdown of the data for you ahead on the news at 4.